Okay, so we are trying something new at this conference. We're going to do 3 times during the conference, we're going to have this little session that's really short that is green tech and materials. And this is what we're just trying is to figure out how to get a little bit more sort of information out there quickly, but through testimonials. And so what we've done is the first couple of sessions, we have some people lined up, but this is also an open mic session. So at the end of the next green tech and materials segment, we're going to open it up to you. And if anybody would like to stand up and sort of give a testimonial to a product that they've used or they want to let everyone know about, we have some great exhibitors out there. You're going to hear testimonials out there too. But if you want to share something with everyone in the room, we're creating a place for you to do that. And if you are brave enough to stand up here at the mic, you will also get a little thing of maple syrup that is made here in the Adirondacks. So that's your reward if you are brave enough to walk up here and get in front of the mic. So we've set the first couple of these up for you, and then you can have open mic session around 11:30-ish. All right, first I'd like to introduce our first testimonials from Chris Bennett and Sally Hart, and they're going to tell you about a project that they worked on together in Saratoga. Oh, just down, right here. Just go hit down.
Okay, great. Welcome to 177 Spring Street in Saratoga, where I live, and I'm fortunate enough to have Chris Bennett live right next door to me. And 7 years ago, he's done a lot of projects prior to that, but I really wanted to get rid of the siding and improve my building envelope and the appearance of my house as well. And so I turned to Chris, and he started problem solving, thinking about what to do, and he told me I should suggest thinking about hardy board and using cement siding. And it appealed to me on many levels. The longevity was huge. The lack of maintenance was major. 8 paint colors was incredibly awesome, because I look at those fans of colors and it's just too much. And the downsides of it, the other great thing was that I actually got a Preservation Foundation award for the improvements. But when the product arrived at the house, I was mortified because every single piece of this concrete was wrapped in plastic. So if those of you that are interested in construction waste management, we've got a great team lined up for later on talking about that, because it's really important. And obviously there was quite a bit of waste that came off of this house to begin with, from the vinyl to the asbestos.
Strapping. We actually shrunk the house 6 inches in width. That's how much product was on the walls, which is, got a tax break, I think, because it's a smaller house now.
Wishful thinking.
Right. Don't remeasure the square footage.
Anyway, I've been really, really pleased with it, and it's something you might want to consider.
Cement, as far as an installation standpoint, it's nothing like, it's not easy to work with. The installation costs are a lot higher, as some of you people have already used it. The costs are incredibly beneficial. We have had some problems with some of the product, but overall it's performing like they said. When it comes to repaint, we put some stuff on when it first came out, we put some up, and basically the repaint is basically a wash and repaint, no scraping, unnecessary. So overall, like I said, if we were to do this back then when we did this, I think the total cost of the materials, including the caulking, including the garage, was $4,300. That was it. If we were to do the same thing in wood, the cost was 20 grand in cedar. And then we still had to paint it. This came pre-painted, so we didn't have painting costs. And what we did do is we stripped the entire house. We prepped every corner board, every window. We painted it back to the sheeting, and then put our siding up to a pre-painted trim. And we didn't replace the trim. We kept it all in wood. The combination of both with cement board and wood works nicely. If you start getting into AZACs and plastic corners, it doesn't work as well. This reads more like a wood house. But since then, hardy board has raised their game a little bit, and it's a little square edge, so historically it doesn't look just like clapboard, but that's splitting hairs. But now they've eased that edge, and it looks a little bit more like wooden clapboard and lays a little nicer. So there are a couple certain teeth, I think we used Hardy here.
Yeah.
We used Hardy here. No, we used certain teeth. I can't remember.
Your
what we did.
job,
I can't remember.
not mine.
It was so long, it has been quite a few years. By the way, it's been what, 4 years?
7.
7 years since we did that, and this house it looks really amazingly clean.
Yeah, it does. And the other great thing about it was that the leftover material Chris sold
We
to
actually
another
sold it,
job.
Yeah, yeah, we were able to sell a lot
So there
of it.
was no waste from that.
Right. Unfortunately, it's a
level.
huge waste stream when we removed everything, but I mean, what do you do with asbestos siding and vinyl? I don't know. So,
Okay, Mike, your question?
well, that was when we did it, there were no lead paint rules. The EPA hadn't. That's right. Well, everything was removal, so, I mean, and I wasn't responsible for removing it. I wanted to stay clear of that to get my liability issue, is just move away. So we had other people do that, and so, yes. It's a good question, but now you have all these EPA lead rules now. We used cedar, all, yeah.
Contact, right?
What's that?
It's not contact.
No, it actually has, fortunately for this house, she has a very high elevation, so everything's at least 8 inches or greater around the perimeter, so it works out quite nicely.
And we'll be giving you guys on the website, there'll be links to these products and any other things that come up during today, so you'll have resources when you get home. Then 4 years ago, I needed to redo my kitchen. It wasn't even, and I decided to go into a room that I wasn't using for anything else and bring in some natural light, and I really wanted to make the kitchen as green as possible, and Chris took it as, and my word, and then some. I mean,
Yeah,
he
it was
really
fun. It was
got
fun-
into
one
it.
of the funnest projects I've ever done. It was great.
And one of the things that was really important to me in the reduce, reuse, recycle was the reuse piece of it. And so I found antique doors and had them hand stripped. Chris had built me cabinets in the room that we were busting into for, it was an office, and we reused the cabinets in both the kitchen, and then we split up the cabinets on the right side were split up and made into bookshelves in my family room. And then I had a piece of Adirondack granite from Barton Mines that was part of my kitchen, and we went out and had that refurbished to create the center island.
And in that picture, I'm not lifting the granite. The other two guys are doing all the work. I just look like I'm lifting it. But that thing weighed. I couldn't believe they lifted this thing. That was amazing.
And this is kind of the finished room, so you can see that recycled cabinetry and the green in the back and the doors. We used no VOC paint. The flooring was recycled tobacco
Tobacco
barn
barn material. Yeah.
material. Chris handmade the cabinets, he's going to tell you about that. And my favorite part of the kitchen, and you can't see it very well, but my knobs on my cabinets are my rock collection.
Yes, that was great. Now, the cabinetry, well, the countertops too, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, countertops are paper stone.
We used a paper stone product on the compressed paper with a natural resin, which worked absolutely fantastic. They say it works like wood. Rich Light also has a product, fantastic. We use that also. It really does work like wood, and I actually enjoyed working with that product. And one thing I like about these products, especially, let's start with the countertop, is that if it starts to get a little, you can actually refurbish it, bring it back to the day you bought it. It does refinish perfectly. It's a little bit of maintenance, but then everything in the world is. So therefore, it was a wonderful product to work with. The cabinetry, we used all no formaldehyde plywood. We used FSC. We could argue about FSC, but
Yeah,
FSC cherry came from Pennsylvania. We use a natural finish on it. Probably some of you people have used it, a Verde green oil, which also too works like they said. It dries within 72 hours. It works a lot like Watco without the toxicity. We applied a natural wax to it. Like I said, the plywood was I said that, formaldehyde free and
FSC.
FSC certified. And one thing, all the drawer boxes, anybody who's ever built cabinets before, after you use all this block, we didn't use a lot of it. We used a European-style cabinet to eliminate face frames, to have better access to your cabinetry, full extension slides everywhere. But all the leftover plywood, when you usually end up like pieces like 6 and 8 inches, and they're worthless. But I actually turn those into drawer boxes, and I've been doing that for quite a few years now. So there's even the waste stream in that. A lot of guys will build cabinets and then go out and buy poplar and make dovetail drawers and all this. Well, I actually retake all that 3/4 inch plywood and I end up using it into my, so there is very, very, actually I don't think I had any leftover plywood, just some scraps.
Yeah.
So the drawer boxes are actually the scrap left over from the casework. And what else did we do in there? And there's the cabinets in the corners. And one thing I have to say, when I built those cabinets for Sally, the ones that are painted in the back, when we built them, we built them solid. And one of the things I try to do is to build things that can be taken apart and redone, reused. And I think and we were able to do that easily. We were able to disconnect, take everything apart, re-put it all back with very little effort at all. Now, if I had built that with particle board or if they were particle board cabinets, they wouldn't have survived the dismantling. So that's another advantage to building things of high quality nature, and that you can take them apart, reuse them. The same thing with the cabinets. When I was doing this a long time ago, people would call me up, and I'd go into an older house, and I'd walk in, they said, "I want to do my kitchen cabinets over," and I would look at them, and I look at these cabinets, and they were built by craftsmen, really high-quality craftsmen. I said, why? Why would you do this to your kitchen? Just, we could paint the doors, we could replace the doors, we could do as little impact as possible. And that's my vision for this kitchen. So in 40 years, someone comes in and says, the cherry thing is, you can keep the boxes, you can change the doors. I hate to say it, paint cherry, but you could do that. By the way, all the panels are not plywood; they're all resawn, solid cherry, resawn on the resawn on a bandsaw, book matched. You can see the book matching some of the sap. So we didn't use any. We tried to minimize the use of plywoods as much as possible, but. Again, it was a really fun. And by the way, the doors are all dry scraped. Very little chemical use. I mean, if we used this much, everything was dry scraped and then finished naturally. So, a fun kitchen to do, and the costs were not that bad.
Not that bad.
No, not at all. We reused all the can lights wherever possible. We took old can lights and we replaced them, so we didn't buy new can lights. And then the floor, by the way, was oak. And we pulled that up, and we actually put that in.
Patty Camaro's
Patty
kitchen.
Camaro took all the hardwood, and we actually recycled that. So we recycled, and we air sealed everything up and nice and tight, and you've been pretty happy.
Very.
Yeah.
Great neighbor.
Well, yeah.
Here you go. Thank you.
Woo! We're going to make pancakes.